easel.
As a growth marketer, you want to think about your understanding of your customer base as gold. The more that you know about their mindset and their habits is so useful to you. So in this module, we're going to look at two ways to think about collecting customer data. So the first one, the more traditional way, is through quantitative data. So these are things like demographic profiles, like how old are your customers? Or in the case of business to business, what size of revenue do these companies make? How many employees do they have? But probably more useful for growth hackers is qualitative data, because it's especially useful for identifying who are going to be your early adopters and how are you going to appeal to them and get them to take action on your behalf. And the best way to get this information is through customer interviewing. Ideally video interviewing, but phone interviewing works as well. So in the download section, you'll find a sample interview form as well as a script that you can use to interview these folks, but you might want to modify these for your own uses as you start to actually do it. You're looking for two things in these interviews. The first thing you're looking for are their needs. So this is when you're asking them about their product, and they're going to probably tell you that they have certain needs that you would call must-haves. So this is when the customer tells you, if your product or service doesn't have this, I won't consider buying it. But there are also these latent needs, and these are needs that they don't maybe know that they even have. You might even have to kind of read between the lines here. And if your product or service meets those needs, oftentimes you can have a customer for life. And as you're doing the interviews, you might find that certain needs are contradictory between different interviews, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just make sure that you're letting the customer talk and that you're not really injecting too much of yourself into the conversation. All right, the second type of information you're seeking in these interviews is customer psychographics. So one way that you can think of this is how Seth Godin does. You can think of this as what kind of tribe of person does this individual belong to? And the way that you think of tribes is like, what kind of stories are these people telling themselves, about their position in the world? What worries do they have about their career, about their personal life, and what goals do they have in terms of their career and personal life? This is going to help you design your messaging strategy, right? And then ultimately, when you have a few interviews, you should do at least 5 for each segment that you're going for. You want to then debrief and find patterns among those different interviews. You use these 5 interviews and maybe more to create personas of the target customers that you're targeting. And in the download section, you can see how Yahoo created the 5 different personas for their job part of their business. And maybe you can see how you would start to define the personas for your business. So in summary, qualitative research is especially useful for identifying tribes of early adopters and potential lead users, while quantitative research is more useful for spotting patterns among businesses and for designing larger scale media campaigns. When interviewing customers, you're looking for information about their needs with the product or service and also about their psychographic profiles. Then you're taking this information to develop personas, which describe the type of people who use your product or service and how you can appeal to them.